What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another exclusive interview on behalf of Scott Scoop and PW Ponderings. My name is Scott Mitchell, and joining me today is the root of all evil, one of arguably my favorite wrestlers around today on the indie scene, Charles Mason. How are you doing today, Charles?
I'm doing well, doing really well today. Anticipating my revenge that's coming in a few days.
You have a massive week lined up, but before we get to that, I did want to ask a little bit about, the evolution of Charles Mason, because we saw you a part of the Masons when you first really were getting started. We saw you then, enter the Rich and Powerful tag team with Richard Holliday, and now we see like the more sadistic side, I guess you could say, of Charles Mason. So what has that been like for you, and what's the whole ride been like?
Yeah, I mean it's been a journey for sure, and a journey within myself, I would say more than anything. When I first started wrestling, I was part of the Masons, me and Alex Mason at the time. That's a long time ago at this point. Um, and a time where I was really trying to, I would say, kind of find myself, where I knew that this monster was inside me, but I felt like I had to tame it for everyone else. And I kind of showed my wealth more than the sadism. Um, and then throughout the years, I couldn't hold it anymore. I had to unleash it. It was a battle with myself every day to try to hide this from the world. And I figured that when I embraced it, embraced this beast inside of me, that I've been happier. I found joy. I found joy in the pain of others.
Absolutely. And watching your promos, everything that you post online, on Twitter, which I'll link down below for anyone who wants to see like what I'm talking about, but it's really reminds me of like the old school Bray Wyatt character, which is just absolutely insane. The character work and just, how you talk, how you deliver everything is just really awesome to see. So I guess like when you do film those promos, what goes through your mind on how you want it to be and how authentic you want to look?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up Bray Wyatt. And Bray Wyatt is the person who got me back into wrestling as a viewer. When I was young, when I was a child, um, my father would buy me the pay-per-views and take me to the shows. And then as I grew older, I kind of found my way out of wrestling. And then one day I saw Bray Wyatt, and I was attracted to what I was seeing. He brought me back into wrestling. And he inspires a lot of what I do today. When I record these vignettes, when I kind of hold my cameraman hostage, he's very uncomfortable. He's very uncomfortable when we do these, but I pay him a lot of money, and he needs to feed his. Uh, so he will sit there through the torture of others and record it for the world to see. But I'm more focused on you know captivating viewers with my sadism and the the pain that I'm inflicting on others. And I think we're all comfortable until we're uncomfortable. And when we're uncomfortable, it's foreign from us, and I think people are attracted to that deep down, and they can't, you know, take their eyes off it. As much as they know it's wrong, as much as they know what they're seeing is horrific, they can't help but watch.
Oh yeah. And that's like really, I think what drew me in a lot too as a fan and seeing this whole evolution is like recently I mean, and this is not a knock on other indie wrestlers who just get in front of a wall and press record, but it's just recently we saw you sitting in, we saw you sitting in the back of the cop car, we saw you in the prison cell, we saw you just do some heinous things to people. Like it's just these things that come from your mind, like it's really awesome to see, and it's really like enticing and intriguing for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, it should be a knock on other indie wrestlers, right? To stand in front of a wall, to sit in the car. I mean, I'm sitting in the car talking to you, but it's just you. If
Yeah.
this was, one of my presentations, it would be a lot different. But Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's the experience overall. This Charles Mason goes far beyond just the ring. The ring is where I get to back up every word that I say and everything that I've shown through video. So I think more wrestlers and more people should try and take it outside of the ring. You have you have a camera. It's not too hard to film these kind of things if you really put your mind to it and if you're as passionate as you say you are, the way I am about inflicting pain on others, then you wouldn't have an issue with going the extra mile.
For sure. So looking ahead for you for this month, I'd say actually, you have an insanely busy month with big matches. And I want to start with House of Glory, which starts on Friday, actually, when you finally get your hands on Amazing Red. What can we expect from that match, and what statement are you going to be trying to make?
Yeah, I mean, I have a big 2025 already, right? It's only been a couple weeks in, and this month is huge for me in my career. But I have a lot of time to make up from being in prison for a few months, and ending 2024 on kind of a sour note. As far as Amazing Red goes, this is years in the making. I, as I said in recent days, I went to Red almost 9 years ago. I presented him with more money than he's ever seen in his life so that he can help me harness my skill. I knew that I was talented, but I also knew that I had this, this deep beast in my body that I couldn't hold back anymore, and I needed somebody to show me how to harness this thing. And he tried his best. He really did. But I found that when I left him is when I really discovered what I was capable of. And since I've come back to House of Glory, he can help but protect people in that company that I don't believe would ever protect him. People like the main event, people like Santana. Santana has something that I want, something that I am entitled to, and I hold a contract, a Matt Travis contract, someone that was near and dear to both me and Amazing Red. And that contract gives me a title shot at any time. And as soon as I try to cash it in, Amazing Red comes and tries to save the day, tries to save Santana. He never taught Santana just because they're from the same city, their culture is the same. Santana would never do that for Red, right? So to be someone who was a former student, I take exception to that. That he helped me throughout the first year of my career, teaching me his craft, and I perfected it. I mastered it. For someone like Santana to come along, and he has more of allegiance to him than he would ever to me. So Friday in Chicago, I'm going to show him every new skill that I've developed. I am not going to take I'm not going to pull any punches. Okay. I'm going to make him feel my wrath. Okay. Amazing Red, I don't think he's coming back to New York.
For sure. And then looking ahead a week from actually, I think it's a week from this Friday or this Saturday, House of Glory will be returning back to New York.
Hmm.
And you will be going on one with Ricky Starks. Now, Ricky Starks on Friday has a championship match against Santana.
Hmm.
So, should Ricky Starks win that match, will the House of Glory World Championship be on the line when you meet him the following week?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm kind of hoping he is in champion by then because if everything aligns right, maybe I cash in that contract after I beat Red that night and I walk in to New York City as champion. And Ricky Starks is trying to take that title from me. Ricky Starks is a great talent, and I've seen what he can do in the ring. But he's rusty, isn't he? He hasn't been used a lot lately. He hasn't seen the ring a lot lately, has he? Um, so I think I have the leg up on him there. And I'm gonna have a great time destroying that pretty little face of his.
Absolutely. And, I want to talk a little bit briefly about the Cold-Blooded Killers, CBK. You took Raheem Royal, Jay Armani, Nolo Catano under your wing, and you turned them, I would say you tapped into their potential probably better than anyone because They're the House of Glory Tag Team Champions now. They're absolutely just killing it on every show that you see them in. So, what has your mindset been watching these guys grow and under your wing, I guess you could say?
Yeah, I mean, I can recall the first time that I saw Raheem, and this boy has just incredible athleticism, um, much like Amazing Red. And Amazing Red is good at that. He can teach you how to be an athlete. He can teach you how to run and flip and be, you know, have these extravagant maneuvers. And Raheem had that, sure, but that only gets you so far. For the first year of his career in House of Glory, he was 1-8 in his matches. One win, only one. And since then, since I've taken him under my wing, I believe he's undefeated. He should be. If I find out he's lost, we have a problem. But he's more importantly the House of Glory Tag Team Champion alongside Jay Armani. Now, Jay Armani, most people don't know this, but Jay Armani was a top 10 wrestler in New York State. I believe he was a collegiate wrestler as well. But uh, sometimes the poor make bad decisions, and he figured he could make more money in the street than he could going through college and then being a wrestler. And I brought him back, and I showed him, just like I've shown myself, how to tame the beast and unleash it when need be. And he's one of the most ferocious people we have. And then you have Nolo Katano. Nolo Katano is one, I believe, one of the most talented cruiserweights, not just in House of Glory, but on the East Coast. Right? I won those tag titles with him by my side. And sometimes you need a little guidance to get to the violence. And that's what I brought out of him. And as long as I have them, and more importantly, as long as they have me, we will continue to be champions. And soon, there's going to be more gold added to that collection.
And you actually started talking about it at the end there. You know, you're a former Crown Jewel Championship, and it looks like you're setting your sights now on the House of Glory World Championship. And if you were able to add that to the CBK, you guys would run House of Glory. So is that really what your ultimate goal is with House of Glory right now?
Absolutely. I want full control over House of Glory. And then at any moment's notice after that, I want to burn that place to the ground. I was the longest reigning House of Glory Crown Jewel champion. I defended it more times than anyone. I was the best. I was dominant. And then they hired a general manager, Solomon. It seemed like he had a personal vendetta against me. Maybe it's because I don't know, kidnapped him, locked him in the basement. I don't see what's the wrong in that, really. And he orchestrated a plan with Carlos Ramirez. Um, I faced him. It was a double count out, and he comes out, extends the match, and makes it false count anywhere, as if no matter what, he just needed me to lose that. And ever since then, ever since I come back to House of Glory after that, I had my sights on every piece of gold that the company has. And once I have all of it, I have all the power, I have all the leverage. So yes, we have the tag titles right now. After I collect the heavyweight championship, the Crown Jewel title is next. And maybe I can take the women's title as well from Megan Bayne.
So it's interesting you said at the end there about the women's championship. Is there any woman, I guess, in House of Glory or on the indie scene that you have your eyes on that you think would fit in well to the CBK?
There's two that come to mind right away. The first one is her name is fitting. It's Killer Kelly. If I can convince Killer Kelly to come up here and be with me and show her everything that I'm capable of and what the reward would be for her allegiance to me, I think she'll come. I think will be very dangerous. And the second one may surprise some people, but she's shown me something recently in the last few months, and I know this woman very well. We've encountered each other a lot. I put her through hell, and that woman is Ali Catch. Ali Catch has shown this enraged side of her, and I believe she already has an issue with Megan Bayne. She's faced her at House of Glory, she's faced her elsewhere, and I think I can unlock further into her something else that will help her capture that title if she really wants to.
For sure. So the X factor in all this, I would say, is Mike Santana, who, in his own right, terrific wrestler. We've seen him grow tremendously in TNA, like since his days in AEW and how that worked out. But what's it like working with him and, eventually challenging him probably for the championship?
Hmm. You know, I've always looked at Santana as I don't know. I think he's a selfish person, right? He's someone who spent his entire career in a tag team. Now I know what it's like to be in a tag team that you don't want any part of anymore. But I saw him leave someone in the dust without any care for him. And that's truly what Santana is. Santana is a selfish person. I truly believe that if Santana did not have the heavyweight championship, he would want nothing to do with House of Glory. Every time he's come into House of Glory, it's been because of the opportunity to elevate himself. He came in as I remember years ago, it was, I believe, the Hardy Boys versus Private Party versus the Dudleys. And this really felt like Private Party's moment. And then Santana and Ortiz were injected into this match, and they took the spotlight. And years later, here he is again, right? We have a roster full of people who are hungry, right? Who are not riding off the coattails of saying, "Oh, I was in AEW before. I'm a former AEW guy," right? He's here to reestablish himself, and that's the kind of person he is. We spent minimal time in the ring together. Now, whether it's been a pleasure working with him, I don't work with him. I'm after something he has. That's gonna be the pleasure for me when I take that from him. When I take everything from him. Understand that this man has lost so much in his life, and this is probably all he has left. And I'm gonna take it. I can't wait for that day that I do.
And I'm looking forward to that too, I gotta say, because you and Santana will absolutely tear it down. And hopefully we see a new House of Glory world champion afterwards.
Oh, you will. I'm certain of it.
Awesome. So I also did want to talk a little bit about the main event, I would say, of this weekend, the biggest show of the weekend. I mean, no disrespect to any other show, but Hammerstein Ballroom,
It's
GCW.
the biggest shit.
It's the biggest show. You're going to be going one-on-one finally with Richard Holliday at Hammerstein inside of a steel cage, which adds to this whole story, I guess you could say. What is your mindset heading into this match?
My mindset? My mindset is revenge. It's the only thing that I can think about. When I wake up in the morning, I see Richard Holliday. Before I go to sleep, I see Richard Holliday. In my dreams, I see Richard Holliday. And every time I see him in my mind, he is covered with blood. I'm out for blood this Sunday. He took 3 months of my life. Because of him, I couldn't see the birth of my son. 3 months I'm never going to get back. Right? And I'm going to take his life in that cage. I knew beforehand, I had a hunch that he was going to challenge me at Hammerstein. He would have Paro by his side. But now that there's four walls of steel surrounding us, there's no one that's going to save him. This is the match of my life, and this is a match for his life. I can't wait.
I'm really looking forward to this match, I gotta say, because it's gonna be violent, it's gonna get bloody, I'm sure it's gonna be brutal, and it's gonna be everything that GCW, I think, embodies in a match. We've seen you in steel cage matches. You brought her up before. You went to war with Alley Catch in the steel cage match. That got bloody, that got brutal. But Since we saw this new sadistic side of yours, steel cages seem to be your friend in a way.
Some would say that, some would say the opposite. Fun fact is that I know that I'm 0-2 in cage matches. I lost my first cage match to Everett Connors, and I lost my match to Alley Catch. But during those times, it wasn't about wins and losses for me. It was about inflicting as much pain as possible. When it came to Alley Catch, I wanted her to tear her to pieces, and I did. I did. When she choked me out for the victory, I had a smile on my face. It felt good. It felt good to finally get that from her. So in that sense, I won. And against Everett Connors, it took his now wife to fly from Australia to save him. But that was my playpen. I was having a good time inflicting pain on that boy. But this one's different. This one's personal. This one I need to win. After this one, you're never going to see Richard Holliday again.
And I did want to talk a little bit about the formation of Rich and Powerful. When I spoke to Richard in a recent interview that you can see down below, he said that he infiltrated you and that there really wasn't much of a goal there because he said you couldn't get over poor people and he wanted to win championships and that's why that you guys never challenged for the GCW World Tag Team Championships. So I want to give you a response here. Like, what was the original goal supposed to be for Rich and Powerful, and what changed along the way?
Well, Richard is a fucking piece of shit. I'm not sure if I can curse. I don't care if I can curse here or not.
Go nuts.
All right. He's a fucking snake. I don't know if you remember. Sorry. When we first had our first encounter, I brought a pour into the ring and I wanted him to strike him with a chair and he refused. And we fought. And that confused me. But I understand that he was confused himself at that time. He had just recovered from cancer. All these people who were by his side, he felt like he had to do right by them. And by these people, I'm talking about the poors that supported him. And along the way, I think he realized, or I thought he realized, that we are above them. We are not like them. People like Hammerstone, who was like his brother, he choked him out for me. So I thought we were going to take over GCW, whether that meant titles or not, championships or not. I just wanted to inflict pain amongst the entire roster and the wrestling world. But yeah, it looks like maybe we had different motives, different ideas. Maybe he turned on Hammerstone just so that he can stay in GCW with me. But the truth is, Richard Holliday is soft. I don't want to compare myself to these people, but he's not like us. And by us, I mean like GCW. He's not willing to do what it takes. He's not willing to spill blood, his own blood or others. He's not willing to throw someone off the top of a cage like I am. He's a soft little fucking bitch. And worst of all, he's a snitch. No one else would have ever done that to me. It's the worst kept secret what I do to people. We all know, but we keep it to ourselves. That's respect for what I do. He doesn't have that. He's a snake. He's a rat. He's a goddamn snitch.
So the X factor in all of this is the big man that's by Richard Holiday's side through all of it, I guess you could say, Paro. You recently tricked him on New Year's Eve. You got him to attack his husband, and Richard had some stuff to say about that too. But he said, like, what kind of man goes in and kidnaps another man's husband? But in your mind, like how good and satisfying did it feel to get that revenge, I guess you could say, on Paro and show that you can outsmart them and you do possess these mind games?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's ever been a question whether I'm more cerebral than those two. I think that's always been clear. That's how I escaped prison. To do what I did to Paro. and to go into his home and take his husband. I didn't find as much pleasure in that as one may think. We all have our own personal lives that we separate. And for me to have to bring his husband into this, it was a last resort. But I had to do that to get Richard to myself. It was fun to watch him attack his own husband. It's fun to watch him cause pain on others. That's why I brought him, and that's why I had him as my right hand man for so long. And he's good at that. He's good at hurting others, and I like to watch that. But it was more important to get Richard Holliday alone. Now he escaped my grasp. He got out of there. Like I said, this Sunday, there's nowhere to run. There's nowhere to hide. It's just me and him.
And you did get your hands on Paro though in Rochester. Holiday said Paro had the match won, but he just had to step in to finish the job. I don't know about that because Holiday did have to step in to finish the job that we all saw. So it's one of those things where uh did was Holiday scared that you were gonna be the one to beat Paro? And did he have to come in and protect his due, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that was clear. He knew that I was going to beat Paro. Everything Paro did to me, I smiled through it. I enjoy receiving pain as much as I enjoy inflicting it. And I think Holiday saw that once I put that big man through those chairs, almost broke his neck, he had to step in. And when he did, I finally got my hands on him. He tried to hit me in the head with a chair. Like I told you, he's not built that way. He's not prepared to do things like that. So we hit Paro. And then I finally got my hands on him. And I got a bit overzealous and tried to suffocate the man with a plastic bag. Kind of forgot about Paro. Well, like I said, there is no Paro this Sunday. I am going to wrap that bag around his throat, around his head, and asphyxiate him. And that rarefied air he always talks about, he's going to have a really hard time finding it.
I'm really looking forward to this match on Sunday, and this match is going to be an absolute banger of a match for sure. And Holiday, when I did speak to Holiday, and he said it in his promos, and he said it again to me, he said the worst type of man is someone who sneaks up on another man. He called you a sneak. Uh, what is your opinion, or what is your mindset, I guess, hearing that, hearing what he says?
Well, I don't really value what he says as far as me being a sneak. He's a snitch, and that's worse than all. That's worse than anything I could do. Okay. But it's also part of the game. Cat and mouse. I like the chase. So it's been fun for me.
Oh yeah, so I did want to ask you the same question I did ask Holiday, and that is that what do you hope to accomplish in Hammerstein and once and for all?
I'll keep this short and sweet. I want to take Richard Holiday's life. I don't care how I come out. If my life goes with him, so be it. But he is not leaving Hammerstein, breathing any air again. I'm going to take that from him. I would love to hang his corpse in that ballroom for the entire world to see. That's my goal. And I hope it comes to fruition.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be an absolute blast. There is one more question I need to ask about Hammerstein, and that is, we know Richard Holiday has power waiting in the wings. Recently on Twitter, we saw you post some cryptic, I guess, photos of your relationship with Slade, who is another very dangerous, very violent, someone I know very well. What, like, so if Holiday has power waiting in the wings, I guess, do you have a friend in Slade who may or may not be there?
You know, Slade is one person who has never deceived me. He has always stood by my side. Now we might have gone our separate ways at different moments, but he's never done any wrong by me. I would consider Slade my best friend. Now I haven't seen Slade in months, but he's just one call away. That's all I'll say.
As someone who's seen Slade at a recent Creator Pro show, he's jacked.
You saw
He,
him at Creator Pro?
Yeah, yeah, he did. He was at a recent Creative Pro show,
Okay.
so he is back.
I guess I gotta go speak to Creative Pro and see where he is.
He's one of the most, and it's amazing. I mean, he's always been in shape. This guy's always been in shape, but we saw when I saw him come out the curtain at Creator Pro and enter the Battle Royal, and now he's been back having, matches again. Like this is a new Slade, and to say it's wild because he was always dangerous, this is a more dangerous Slade, and it's interesting to see because, Slade has always been a dangerous man for anyone who doesn't know. But this new version of Slade, oh man, he's more jacked than ever. He's more like vicious than ever, and it looks like you really could have you're smiling just thinking about
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see him. I need to find him right away.
it.
That sounds lovely.
I love it. So looking ahead for you, I guess, as a whole 2025, what is next for you and what are your future goals? And is there anybody specifically that you want to share the ring with?
Um, as far as sharing the ring with, I'll be honest, there's no one specific. I want everyone. I want everyone. I want to be everywhere. 2025 for me, I want to take this this sick addiction to pain that I have, and I want to broadcast it to the world. So whoever wants to put me on their screen, that's where I want to be. And I would say 2025, I'm going to be on national television, choking people, putting bags over their heads. I can promise you.
That's awesome. And I really hope that we get to see that. And it's going to be from everything from this weekend to this year, it's going to be a blast. The growth of Charles Mason continues. And is there anything you want to leave off the interview saying to anyone who might be watching or reading this and where they could find you, promote or support you, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, you can find me on, Twitter, X, Instagram. I'm not even sure what my username is on those. I think it's like underscore Charles Mason. Someone try to impersonate me and have the real Charles Mason, and I won't give them the satisfaction of purchasing the username off of them. But you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on X. I don't use Facebook. That's for old weird people. And yeah, I would say, you know, hold your loved ones tight if you are a person who lives in poverty. 2025, I rid the world of the poor.
Great. And I look forward to your big year and it's going to be an absolute blast. And I thank you again for your time.
And the pleasure is all yours.